Okay, I do apologise, folks. We are up and live, thankfully, now. And I think we have made it just in time because we do have a really nice long position for the warm-up lap. I can tell you they are just about to summit the mountain at the top of the order at the moment. Tin out there in pole position and waiting for his chance here. I can reassure you, of course, that everything is going okay. Let's have a quick look at the standings at the moment. I was just saying, while I didn't realise we were still off, that we do have everything running. I am recording this session so that if we do have a break, hopefully I can still upload the full race for you. And let's take a quick look then at the rest of the standings as they are. Out there at top is Rare Metal Racing on 170 points, ahead of No Grip No Glory on 147. And hey, hi to Purple. Thank you for letting me know that everything is on. But bear in mind that if we get cut off, I probably will just continue and I will upload the race as soon as I possibly can. I thought my internet problems were behind me, but sadly, it seems like we are still having a couple of issues. I managed to keep the game running, but we've had to do a restart, so my apologies once again. Hopefully we will get there for you. The driver's just going down the Conrad Straight, which is anything but straight in its gradient before heading in towards the chase, but more of that momentarily as we'll get back on to the onto the live positions for you. And I just want to try and get you the leaderboard as soon as possible, but it's not populating for me on my end at this stage. It's Hunter's fault, says Grays. Well, I'm happy to shift the blame for sure, but Grays reassures me that the Premier Division absolutely has to be completely crash free, because Prospect was, at least on the stream. So this was and will forever be a tricky place. The driver's now getting side by side for the start of the race. That's pit entry on the left under the Liqui Moly tyre bridge. And we will go as widescreen as we dare for the start of our 1 hour endurance round 3 of season 3 here at Black Flag Racing as we round the final corner. That's Murray's, and the drivers will get the green flag instruction. There's quite a bit of delay at the back there at the moment. The green flag will come momentarily. There's quite a bit of catch up still to do as we get underway then for the start of our race. It's drop the clutch. It's go, go, go. BMW, Lexus, Porsche and McLaren at the front of our grid as Tin leads the way. And it looks like Lucas securing in that third position ahead of Angel and Rick, with Cody down in 6th place. But the fight over the lead position here as we head down the mountain straight and head up towards the first of the real corners here. Griffin's Bend, in we go. And for now at least, things looking okay for our drivers as they run in. It looks like everybody is behaving pretty well. Last season, of course, was problematic for everybody. As we head into the midfield here, we've got Sam, Aries, Jason and Bert all in a line, and plenty of busy drivers and side-by-side action. There's a little bit of ping pong going on in the middle of the grid there at the moment as they run through and continue to climb here up towards the summit. It is still all looking pretty clean, pretty tidy here. Let's just hop down towards the GT4s, and it looks like everybody so far is running a-okay. We've got Tin leading the way though as they run downhill extremely steeply in towards that final Forest elbow before the long Conrad Straight, and it's Tin leading Marnik ahead of Lucas and Angel as we have Rick and Cody then continuing to fight. I would imagine the BMW will be able to catch the McLaren here down the long straight, the Conrad Straight, and in towards the chase. Things looking very nice actually at the start of our race. We've had a very, very low drama start. Just the 133 that has got an issue out there, and it looks like there was a moment there for me. Not quite sure what's happening, but we've got Artie in P2 in the GT4s, and he comes through I'm not quite sure. These are here. It did look like Brian has had a problem, but then we'll just make sure that we restart here on this lap with 51 minutes 12 to go. I will make sure that that is the cut point. Marnik and Tin continue at the head of the field. Tin in the lead, Marnik in second, and then the drivers are coming through slowly but surely. Tiny bit of contact there between Rice and Kevin. I think Archie is on his way to come on by. I think that might be Thor coming through and closing the gap in towards Murray's, and a little bit of unnecessary contact between there, some over defence possibly. Drivers feeling a little bit worse for wear already, as we'll just drop back down towards to see the head of the field, and we have for us we have Tin ahead of Marnik, with behind him Lucas. Brian has clearly been in the wars, been in the pits for damage repairs. Car looks a-okay at the moment, with Angel in 4th place. Rick is slightly further back with Cody and Ruben all locked in battle at this point as they run along down the Conrod Straight and head towards the chase. Going to be a very closely fought battle for the remainder of our race, I'm sure, and it's going to be about survival and making sure you stay out of trouble. I am going to just make a small adjustment to the screen. We don't necessarily need all this information here, so let's just get you the bare essentials for the field here, as we'll just switch over. That should then give you race positions on the top left of your screen, and the advantage of being able to do this live, and hopefully things will not freeze up too much as we continue through. Angel, Rick, Cody and Ruben on your screen at the moment as we run down. There is Ruben at the back of that group at the moment. Behind him we've got Leroy, some 2.9 seconds further back, with Crit out in 9th place for his team, which is the Apex Critical Racing team, ACR, as you will well know. Further back then, behind them, we've got Keith, who's also been in the pits, I believe, as has Brian. Certainly they've lost a lot of time here. Keith has lost further time than Brian. Tane then is in P10 with Nate out in 11th place. This track seemingly not the best for Nate. They're in the Lamborghini for his no grip, no glory, but he's got his teammate in front of him, so there's a bit of a job for Nate to be doing right now. They get to pass Keith any moment, I feel fairly sure, as they close in on the blue, black and red rimmed Lexus. And that is the terrifying look of the skyline as they round the summit of the mountain. Heading back downhill we go. Nate ahead of Brandon, and we've got Aries some 5.9 seconds off the top 12 there of the 12th place, and then Sam in P14. Jason is in 15th, just ahead of Bert, with North Sea Bub, who didn't set a qualifying lap, having made his way up to 17th position already. That is certainly going to be a last to first challenge. We'll see. We'll check on his progress further on. Harry is in 18th place. We've got Arik in 19th. And last of the lead lap GT3s as far as I can see, and then back down to the GT4s. You can see Artie leading by 2.8 seconds against Polar, and we have Thor in third in class. Lime is in between them and catching back some positions as we run over the top of the mountain. We come up to Kevin in 24th overall, and then Rice with Hunter ahead of Archie. And here we've got some trouble brewing, I do believe. I think we've got Hunter there forming a little bit of a train ahead of the Porsches of Archie and Adam in the Snack Pack Racing Team colours. And then you've got the Apex Critical Ivan in the black and green. And Chappie, who's on his way to try and clear them there. Chappie in the GT3 McLaren in the 711 car, trying to get by all of these drivers. This straightaway should help him to power by the cars in turn. His VMAX is much greater as they head towards the chase. And this is getting very busy and very interesting as they run through. That Porsche of Archie not looking particularly in the best of condition, but the McLaren behind him in a similar colour scheme, of course, is looking very similar. That's Chappie back in 28th. I'm assuming Chappie is in the same team as Archie, as Archie releases him. We're trying to match colours here. The 846 just letting the 711 by, but of course he was a little bit out of sorts there, and unfortunately the 711 of Chappie running a little bit wide through Murray's and the final corner there, through Hell Corner now and climbing Mountain Straight. And these cars have just edged out the gaps ever so slightly from where they were as we run on then through the next portion over the crest then as they approach the difficult Griffin's Bend turn 2. It's about carrying momentum through here. You can go faster than you think, and he's caught in betwixt and between here, Hunter. Not quite sure when the McLaren GT3 car is going to pounce onto him as they run on the left-hander as they climb through the cutting and passing Reed Park. Quarry Corner on the left here, the right-hander, and then Reed Park is on their right as they go over the hill. And you see all the fans there already, several beers deep, I should imagine, our Aussie fans out in Bathurst as they crest over past McPhillamy Park and in towards Skyline. Check out what an amazing view they have at the top of the mountain there. Though they won't be thinking about that too much as we run. We can see the virtual mirror at the top of our screen as well. This is Hunter's view. We're following back with Hunter, and we can see what he can see at this stage. And we're waiting for that McLaren to get by, but the McLaren of Chappie really has had to wait a very, very long time to get through. In fact, so long that Tin is closing in here, and here is back with the lead of the race. That's Tin in the BMW in the Rare Metals Racing Team colours, the silver, gold and black of BMW M Motorsport as he powers by Hunter. Gives him a little bit of a frightener heading into the chase. I don't think there was anything in that, but Hunter sort of dodging and darting slightly to the left as he runs through the corner, and we go we continue with Tin then in P1. He is now several cars and several seconds ahead of Marnik, who has a lot to do here in the 666. But we may see that Marnik might well be running and taking it easy on the tyres here and seeing whether he can get through on a single set of tyres. And I think that was the strategy in race 1. But a lot of water has flown under the bridge since we were last live on the channel 2 weeks, but an awful lot of racing, so we go over the top. And there's a little bit of a flashback there from Adam, who was a little bit, I think, frustrated to see Marnik be quite so aggressive at this early stage of the race with the light flash. He just made his feelings felt, I think, as Marnik's about to pass these drivers now. Tin still has Chappie, the GT3 driver, ahead of Hunter here, as round the outside goes Marnik. I know Marnik has a lot of fans here, and this is not a comfortable position to be overtaking. Hunter could be a little more generous, perhaps, as they go side by side. Marnik should tuck in nicely into the left-hander and does so, passing McPhillamy Park and approaching that Skyline corner. He'll be very, very happy to be past the GT4 field now, as they run into the Dipper and down towards Forest Elbow. That is an important position then for Marnik. So we'll continue with this battle. I don't want to focus too much on one set of cars, but of course they are very close to one another. We have Ivan with Lucas in third place in the Porsche, the orange, I want to say orange, black and silver Porsche here. Yes, orange, blue and silver of that is No Grip, No Glory, of course. Apex Critical Racing's Matrix is behind him. Matrix in the GT4 as well. And we've got Lucas in P3 here in the Rare Metals Racing question mark. No, Kingsman Motorsport colours. I'm still getting used to it. The 416 here. Lucas in P3, and he has I think at least 4 GT4 cars separating himself and Marnik in P2. I'm not sure that this circuit is going to suit the Porsche, but we shall see. The BMWs do seem to be in a very good place. Here is a good battle, though. Ruben in fourth, Rick behind him in the red and black of the Snack Pack Racing team. The BMW pairing there, fighting hard. They've got Cody close behind in the Mustang. Mustang will be very strong on the straights, of course, as Ruben approaches Matrix. Matrix just weaves over to the left. He was thinking about lifting on the left of the track, but he's swept back across to the right-hand side, back onto the racing line then, and flying by. Ruben is able to open a small gap on Rick as they come through, and Rick has a difficult situation there as they're all trying to get by the GT4 of Jeff, and they all do manage to make that move by. This is the kind of track where you get jump scares and you get absolutely terrible treatment when drivers crash in this very section of the racetrack. It's barely a racetrack. It's a public road, of course, around Bathurst, and it's terrifying even in a road car. One of my friends from Australia has assured me, ran it in a small family minivan, and said it was absolutely petrifying at normal driving speeds as well. Keith is in 34th position. Pit window has now opened as they go over the top of Skyline. Crit is still on that lead lap in P8 and hoping to get by. This is Brandon actually just behind Crit. So let's get back to a slightly more active camera. Crit in the Porsche. But of course both teammates here, even though they're in different cars, you've got Crit ahead of Brandon. And there's a decent gap then for the drivers to find themselves in. Brandon in P9. We've got Aries in 10th place. I don't think much is likely to happen between these drivers who are teammates. Aries in 10th. Max is down in 35th position with a very unpleasant looking Mercedes AMG GT4, unfortunately for him. We've got Sam in 11th, just ahead of Bert. Well, by 17 seconds, so not just ahead at all. The pit window open, but there's been several drivers already in the pits, somewhat not by choice. So they've had to go in, get damage repaired. Might have made a decision to change tyres at that point, but they will still have to come into the pit lane for at least 1 litre of fuel during the course of the run. Nate has dropped from 11th down to 14th position now. In the 189. So Nate usually hovers around inside the top 10. So this is proving to be a slightly difficult race for him at this point, but I'm sure that he will keep trying, keep pushing to the best extent possible, and then he will hopefully be able to pick up positions later on. We have Archie, the only driver on my screen so far who has successfully made a pit stop. We'll see if anybody else has to decides to come in at this early stage. That's Yeeson in the pit lane there with a scratched up. The problem with painting your car in a nice light colour is that unfortunately you do see all the pickup and all the damage. Into the pits comes Arik there in the 907 for his mandatory stop. Leroy on his way in. We haven't been able to have a proper Leroy Jenkins moment with Leroy yet. I'm waiting for it. As the 64 of Artie, the leader of the GT4s, comes by, and we'll just scroll down our leaderboard for you so we can actually check out where everybody currently is at the bottom end of the field. We've got Artie in P17 overall, I'm showing. Just want to make sure you've got what I can see on the screen, hopefully. No, there you go. Artie, P17, ahead of Lime, actually, in 16th place. Lime just making the overtake right now. That is obviously a blue flag overtake. So Artie ahead of Polar, 5.1 seconds. Artie is not out of sight yet for Polar. In fact, let's have a quick look from Polar's perspective here. That's a very clean looking rear of his AMG. On board with Polar Oh, that was nice. A nice little bit of opposite lock on the way through the left-hander there. That was a problem moment for him through the cutting, but he's coping with it. Okay. It's very active on the steering wheel. We now have the P2 Marnik. That was very tidy from Pola. I think he deserved a lot better than the rub he got on the way by, almost sending him into the wall. But it's just the way things work out sometimes. Pola still very committed to trying to get that win in the GT4 class. So looking good at this stage of proceedings for him. Behind him we've got Chappie out in P18 on the total order at the moment as he comes through. I'll just make sure you get the middle of the grid here, and we haven't missed anybody. I think we get pretty much two halves of the field if I scroll all the way to the top. So I'll do that for now for you. I'm limited by my screen size, how much of the leaderboard I can actually show you, but hopefully you get a good enough picture, or a better picture than we usually manage here on ACC. Chappie in P18. Just a reminder, this is Black Flag Racing. Oh, out we go for Chappie. And if you're going to lose the car at Bathurst, that's one of the better places to lose it. He's managed to just about keep it out of the barrier, and he can just take his time to rejoin there. P19 for Chappie at the moment. Ruben getting by, putting a lap on him, and Ruben in P3 catching Arik, and he'll want to be able to deal with that car very quickly, and does so. That's for Kingsman Racing, I do believe. Kingsman Motorsport, yep. For Ruben, the number 3, and he is in P4 right now. Out of the pits comes one of the Porsches. That is not Arik, that's Harry Effect, as we know him from last season. That was Harry coming through. In fact, here he is, back of the picture. That's no grip, no glory colour scheme. Harry in P32. He and Arik have pitted, so there is a lap separating P17 and P32. Harry with a mountain to climb, forgive the pun, here to try and get back into some happy points positions for the team. Cody in 5th place right now, has not made his pit stop just yet, and Rick is in 6th place. I do want to make sure we can find our leader, because unfortunately, with all the focus on everybody else, we didn't quite give the amount of time that the leaders were hoping for through here. So Archie in P1 is some 18.7 seconds ahead of Marnik. That is almost an unassailable gap right now, with 34 minutes just under to go. He eschews the pit lane for this time round as Tin. We'll see if Marnik decides to pit on his way in as well. Marnik just coming through here. I wonder if Marnik has had a delay here on the track. His car looks in good condition, but he may be just taking this quite gently and quite slowly to make sure his tyres last the distance. Marnik in P2 there, and we've got, I think that's Nate in P12, not far behind Marnik on track. The order at the moment: Tin, Marnik, Lucas, Ruben, Cody, Rick, Sam, Bert, Crit, and Aries, your top 10. Just outside of that, Brandon, Nate, Artie, and Angel with Polar currently showing in 15th place, but the GT4s of Artie and Polar have not made their pit stops yet, and of course will be in that order later on through the course of our race. Marnik putting in a very similar lap time to his absolute best. In fact, just going green on my screen at the moment on this lap 13 for the Frenchman as he comes through. Tin some 19.1 seconds further up the road from Marnik at this stage, so we will perhaps cut away from that particular battle. See if we can find ourselves a nice close battle then for the grid positions. Unfortunately, everybody apart from the top 6 are now a lap down on the order after just 13 laps. So we do have a significant gap for everybody. That's Lucas in P3. I'll try and find you Ruben. Here he is in P4. And I can tell you that Cody and Rick are close together as well. The Mustang of Cody with Rick in the BMW. They are almost on top of the GT4s of Harry there, with Polar close as well. So that is Polar in 17th overall. Harry is in 32nd overall. He will be getting blue flags. He should, on pace, be able to pass Polar here, but he should also, being now what will be 2 laps down on the cars behind, be able to get by. But this is Harry making the overtake, but he now needs to yield and let these GT3 cars by as well. There we have it. We've also got Polar just flashing his lights. Polar not particularly happy, I think, at the moment, and this is helping Cody just gap Rick at this stage as well. I think we've still had some lights flashing there. Polar just trying his best. He's fighting over P2 as Rick has decided to cut his losses and head in towards pit road. He's taking that one a little bit too quickly. You might get a penalty for crossing the white line with all 4 wheels there for Rick as he comes in, and we'll see how he goes on his next lap. He was very close through the mountain section on that previous lap there with Cody, but the gap has opened. Cody has dealt with Harry and with Polar and has got by, so the gap's now opening out very nicely indeed for everybody. Let's have a look further back. Here we have Brian, who was in the wars very early in the race, and he is closing in. That's Brian in the Porsche. We've got Keith very close behind. That is the halfway announcement from Hans, our radio engineer, as Keith there for Brittany Steers. We haven't seen much of Brittany Steers this race, but here is the 55 for in 19th place in the Lexus. I think the Brittany Steers Racing have had to stick with Lexus colour schemes for all of their cars to try and give us some unifying colours across the teams. The Lexus cars, you can only have red and black or blue and black in your choices, so it's a little bit limiting. We've got Leroy in 36th position then, and I think that makes him dead last. Let's just have a look at the bottom of the field. Leroy, I think, has taken, yeah, that is dead last in the field then. He has taken his pit stop. He has not taken his pit stop. Goodness me, things are not looking good for him at the moment as we go back to see. Behind him on track is Rice, and we've got Kevin Rice and Kevin in the GT4s, but Jason and Rick are closing in fast here. Rick cannot manage to get free of traffic at the moment. This is his important lap for Rick. This is his out lap from the pits. Don't go between the two of them. Oh, the Porsche almost getting right into it there of Jason, taking a huge risk as they all try to filter through now. And looks like Jason is making his way by. Leroy just staying on one side of the track and letting these GT3 cars come by. Jason in 33rd position. Rick fighting now to try and get his gap back onto the driver he was fighting with earlier, Cody. And he's got a long way to go. Here is Rick in the black and red BMW of Snack Pack Racing. The 215. He's got Jason ahead of him on track, but he is at least 1, if not 2 laps down in 33rd position. Marnik has pitted. He's now in 5th place and comes out of the pit lane. That was what looks to be a relatively long pit stop, actually, for Marnik. Let me just check out. I've got a slightly more expansive track standings scheme here that helps me to see the last laps by the drivers. I can see Marnik was rated at a 2:03 last lap, 2:03.948 on the previous lap. I'm wondering if that is going to update because that is close to his absolute best. No, it's 2 seconds slower than his best. So that could have been an in-lap, but that is very, very marginal. Let's check out where is Tin relative. Here he is on the summit of the mountain over Skyline for Marnik. Let's see if I can find for you Tin, who's a fair distance up ahead in the order. Here he is in the pit lane right now, in fact, Tin. So Tin coming in, and he sets a 2:05.8. Now this could be the fact that their pit boxes are in very different positions on the pit lane. But this is your GT3 leader. Well, he was until Lucas goes by. So Lucas is now your leader, having not made a pit stop. And Angel goes by as well, but he is a lap down. So Tin is waiting to get out of the pit lane. I think he's about to be released now. This is really important, actually, for the race. This is why I'm sticking with a stationary car. Whoa, there's a big problem there at the bottom of the screen there. I think that looks like Cody and possibly Harry involved in something further back. Tin has been able to come out of the pits in second place. Let's see, who was that? Was Nate who was in trouble there at the back of the shot as we came through Hell Corner, which I saw some drivers confidently talking about being a nothing corner. I've seen plenty of accidents in Hell Corner, but it is a weird name for a corner that is on paper one of the easier in the tracks. Marnik is currently 5th position, having set a 2:59 pit stop lap. That time out. We will see what Tin does on this current lap. But it would appear as if Tin has actually taken a shorter pit stop than Marnik this time out. And Tin is looking really hot for the lead, with the only 2 drivers in front of him, Ruben and Lucas, who have yet to make their pit stops. So it is looking pretty smooth at the moment for Tin. I am seeing possibly a 15 second deficit between for Marnik back to Tin, as Tin, on my screen at least, has a relatively short gap back to Cody. That's showing right now as 2.4 seconds on my screen, at least. There he is, a little bit further back. I'm just looking right back in the shot to see if we can see Marnik, but we can't. He's a long way back. So maybe it's the fact that Tin has not taken tyres this time, and it's Marnik that has. Let's compare these lap times then, as Tin comes to finish out his outlap. I'm going to give you that as soon as it populates on my timing screen page. Across the line we go for Tin. That's a 2:54 that time, and that was 5 seconds faster than Marnik managed on his outlap. So there's a very small difference between the two. Just a matter of 5 seconds. So clearly Marnik has been struggling through the course of the pit stop period of this race, around that 25-minute to go mark. You can just see Marnik behind now. He has a hell of a race on his hands here to get through in P5 in the Lexus. He's not even the first Lexus on our screens. He's the rearmost Lexus on our screens, as North Sea Bub is in 14th place, has Nate ahead of him in 13th, and Arik ahead of him. This is looking very tight indeed as they come through. We will perhaps join from the chase view of North Sea Bub's 356 Porsche here. He tries to find a weakness in the game of the 2 cars in front of him, or wait for a chance to make the overtake. We shall see how this one shapes out. No real trouble from behind. It's a scorching hot day in Bathurst for the drivers to contend with. That might mean that the drivers make the decision that they absolutely need that second set of tyres. Such a difficult section of the racetrack when you're trying to pay attention to the cars in front, who could make a mistake, of course, at any moment. Coming over Skyline and into the dipper, now into Forest's elbow with the Bentley hoardings. As we run through, the Porsche get on the power quite quickly, and he's hoping to try and get a good slipstream here, but actually it looks like it is advantage Nate as we run through. This is Nate then in the Lamborghini, following Arik's Lamborghini, the silver and black Rare Metals Racing. Arik there as Nate tries to get through on the chase. Arik defending well, not making a mistake on the brakes, but there's a lot of pressure on him as Nate goes down the inside. Looked like a little block coming, and there's contact between the two. You'll have to let me know in the comments what you think of that move, but looked like Nate had the right to space, and possibly Arik decided at a fairly late stage to make the defence. North Sea Bub has got by, so Arik ended up losing a position through that through the course of that run. He's flashing his lights. Eric doesn't appear to be very happy at this stage, and I'm not sure what North Sea Bub is feeling about that situation. Marnik there in P3 comes into focus, and he has a very large gap then at the moment up towards Tin. I'll just check that out. I'm seeing 20 seconds. No, not even 20 seconds more than that, as I do think something well, I'm waiting for my timing screen to actually to catch up a little bit. I'm not sure that is quite accurate. In fact, I think our leaderboard has frozen. No, we're back. Okay. I thought we had a problem there for a minute, but the gap at the moment between Tin and Marnik is running at some 26 seconds, unfortunately for him. From what I can see, Lucas is ahead of Marnik. Lucas has managed to make an overtake through that pit stop period, the 4:16. His gap to Tin does look about what you would expect it to be at this point. So I think it's Marnik who's had the drama, rather than Tin or Lucas being particularly that much faster. There is Marnik, and then we've got Ruben. Just try and actually see Marnik. Here he is in P3. Ruben further behind by 3 seconds, and then Nate and Jason on track. We'll find Rick in 5th place. Got some clear air in front and behind of him. And the pit window is now closed, so we should see nobody with orange on there next to their name, apart from, of course, me, whose car is in the pits. So hopefully no one else is in that situation. Eric in 14th, with Rick just ahead of him. We've got Ivan and Matrix behind them on track. This is Ivan in the 69. There's always a driver in a number 69 car, and his teammate Matrix is right there as well. Oh, that's a bit of friendly fire possibly between the two. Are in similar colour schemes as Cody and Matrix make contact on the way into Murray's corner. Cody in the GT4. Sorry, Cody in the GT3, Matrix in the GT4, and Matrix has lost several positions on the road and several seconds on the stopwatch as well through that run. Brian is the next one to make the overtake on Matrix. So there may be some post-race discussions happening there for our ACR team. Apex critical. Well, yeah, the Apex certainly was critical into the final corner there. Murray's round, sweeping around the outside, goes to 64 of Artie, leading the field, I want to say, and I'll just double check that. Yeah, leading the field in his group, and he's 16th overall. So as he comes through, he leads the GT4 field ahead of Angel. Angel is actually just under 4 seconds away from Matrix. So let's just find Angel. Here he is in the McLaren. No, it's not that. It's Polar, actually. Polar is in the GT4. So he's got a decent, actually it's quite a decent gap here. I'm making out that to be around 17 to 18 seconds between Artie and Polar for P1 in the GT4 field. But there's plenty of action going on screen right now as filtering through the Forest Elbow corner go our racers. That's Chevrolet of Jeff, not looking too good. Jeff is caught in betwixt and between. He'd be better off staying in the middle of the road, as he's got cars coming left and right of him. One of them is a GT4, one of them is a GT3 McLaren. And yeah, he's not very happy about that one. Kind of bullied out of it was Jeff, but Matrix got by as well. That's a pass for position for Matrix. They're really pouncing on Jeff as he runs through, and that was a Porsche just rejoining the track, and that looked to be Brian, who had just cleared all these cars, and now he's got to pick that all back up again, the 164, as he heads into the final corner. You've got Matrix just behind him, and Jeff in that 31st position overall. He's legitimately fighting with Matrix here. So Matrix ahead of Jeff in the bashed up Chevrolet. Matrix in the much cleaner looking AMG with the green flecks on it. Behind them you can just make out Aries in the BMW. He and Sam are in 8th and 9th position. They're separated by about 5 seconds, so we won't see Sam until I cut back to him, and it's probably a good time to cut back to him right now. Sam there in the black and the red of his Snack Pack Racing team. Brendon is only 1.4 seconds away, and he enters shot right now in the black and the green of Apex Critical. Brendon in a good position here to try and make certainly pile some pressure on to Sam, whose BMW looks like it's had better days. There are some unintentional colours on the front of that fender and grille. Let's have a look as we run here through. We'll follow Sam. In fact, let's go on board with Sam, shall we, as we go through one of the most dramatic sections of world motorsport on the tracks. Absolutely crazy portion of the race. Blue flags given out there. That will be for Aries ahead. No, it won't. It shouldn't be. Oh, Brendon getting a really good run there. Fabulous run for Brendon as they come through out of Forest Elbow. The camera will catch up eventually. There we go then. And he makes it through and past Sam. So Brendon piling on the pressure. They've got Jeff just ahead in the... well, it looks like it used to be a Chevrolet for Jeff in the 224. And that's who the blue flags are for. Getting down onto the brakes into the chase and heading towards Murray's corner. Brendon had to really check up there and not commit to the overtake. Brendon will be somewhat relieved to see Matrix ahead of him, although Matrix has had some friendly fire just a lap ago. Brendon making the overtake neat and tidy. Matrix might elect just to turn into the apex of this corner, and he does so just to hold up Sam very slightly. That might be a communication over the radio there for Matrix, just to make life a little bit more difficult than it needs to be for Sam, who is chasing down his teammate Brendon for that 9th position. Let's have a look a little bit further back then from this group, and you've got Keith in 18th, then you've got Polar in the 19th position, the bright blue Mercedes here in the 999. He's still second in the GT4 class, but there is a fairly large gap between himself and Artie. Haven't seen Bert for a while. Here is Bert for Snack Pack. It doesn't have a lot of cars for front and behind of him to chase for or be pressured by. So the 91 with a relatively calm run to the flag, it would seem, for McLaren. A P11 I think would be a welcome result for him. Max is trying to get this car home, but I imagine he's at least got a few degrees off on the steering by the look of the front of that AMG. It is not looking good at all. Chappie's in 30th position and Jeremiah in 31st. Now, what is happening here? We've got Lucas leading the race. Now, Lucas has got a great gap here on the field. He's currently out in front. He's got a gap of 7.6 seconds. Looks like he might be protecting his tyres. Might have taken a shorter amount of time in the pits than his rivals. And this could be very interesting to see a new face at the front of the field. Lucas, all the talk pre-race was between Marnock and Tin, but Lucas is in P1, Tin is in P2, but 7.5 seconds behind. So Lucas has made his pit stops, come out, and he's got a really nice gap here to try and save this race at the front of the field. 7.4 seconds with just over 12 minutes left to run. So that is very exciting. I think, though, that Tin has had a problem because Tin looks like he's gone off the track there. Tin in his Rare Metals Racing BMW has a damaged front of his BMW. Championship challenger here, Marnock, main championship rival of Tin. Also not looking too good, but slightly better. both of them have clearly made contact with various cars between them, but this should be an interesting one because they're both battling slightly wounded, the 71 and the 666, as we bring this in towards the final 10 minutes soon enough of the race. As we go into turn 1, it looks like Marnik has the slightly better handling car here. But Tin just weaving across the track, making sure that Marnik knows that he's there, and they are protecting the corner. Here comes Tin on the way up into turn 2. This is Griffin's Bend. Marnik showing himself in the mirrors. Not a serious attempt at an overtake, but he's thinking about it. You can be absolutely sure. The back end of this Lexus looks absolutely fine, but it's the front end that is a horrible mess at this point, as we try to round out this race. Marnik in P3, his main championship rival directly in front of him, and they continue then to fight over the this all-important run. Running to the left hand, they're approaching now Skyline, and then down in towards the dipper. Very difficult sequence of corners. You cannot make an overtake through here unless the car in front has made a pretty significant mistake, but you can absolutely run into the back of them. This is all very important corner here, Forest Elbow, because the better you take it, the earlier you can get on the power. Look like advantage 10 in that scenario, but Marnik will get a good slipstream here, and he's gained a 10th on the way down now we make that 2 tenths down Conrad Straight. It's closing in. This is striking distance potential here for Marnik, but he's playing it patiently. I wouldn't expect a desperate move from Marnik until the final couple of minutes, certainly in towards the final 2 laps anyway, and he's looking to try and pounce as soon as possible, but for now content enough to put the pressure on Marnik for the head of put the pressure on Tin for the head of the championship run here. Of course, we have a 10 race season, which is now sequential weeks here at Black Flag Racing. We used to race every 2 weeks, so there's one half the time to practice between races, and here comes Marnik then with a really good opportunity to make a chance of an overtake. Tin defends on the inside, will leave the absolute minimum space required on the outside. That's 1 car width to the white line there, and Marnik was almost posted into the wall, and he's flashing the lights. Marnik, I feel like Tin probably left enough room from this view anyway. It probably didn't feel very comfortable in Marnik's seat, but yeah, clearly Marnik not particularly happy with that. Meanwhile, this is helping Lucas, who's out front by 7.1 seconds from Marnik, about 6.5 seconds there or thereabouts from Tin. But if they want to win this race, I think at the moment these two only have eyes for each other and their relative positions in the championship. This is a really important one for both of them to try and secure the win on the road, despite the fact that they've both taken damage. One driver will be filled with regret. One driver will be relieved to at least have beaten his main rival. We do have a problem there. That's Matrix, stationary in the exact place I crashed last year, which is where I did my full J-turn down onto the grass to get out of everybody's way, because this was the last thing I wanted to do while there were cars coming towards the old Austin Powers 20-point turn. Oh, that's very tight, but he's just about got himself going and into a good position. Back then to the battle between Marnik and Tin. That's actually opened up now to 1.4 seconds, and Marnik crashes into the wall on the exit of the chase chicane. A lot of work then for Marnik to do, but heading through the final corner in a very uncomfortable fashion goes Chappie in the McLaren there, letting the leaders by. And I think that's actually Ruben closing in now. Ruben could be the next challenger. Let's check out what Ruben's car looks like. Have a look out for the white and gold BMW. It's a lot tidier than Tim in the bashed up silver Rare Metals Racing colour scheme. Tin just navigating some GT4s. This is very, very interesting as we come to a close. That's P2 in the GT3s, passing P2 in the GT4s. Tin versus Polar, and they navigate safely enough. Behind them is Harry in the Porsche and Jeff in what used to be a Chevrolet on the way through. So that's Tin, followed by Polar and Harry. Then Jeff and Marnik flying by, but Marnik certainly going to be very, very concerned here that he's got Ruben right behind him. So it's fabulous to see these great drivers closing in. Marnik taking the widest line possible in and over Skyline. So dangerous because you can't see the apexes as you brake on the outside there. So you hedge your bets and try and put yourself in the middle of the track on the approach. But Marnik clearly knowing exactly where he needs to be. But he looks defensive through Forest Elbow. And that hood looks like it is absolutely going to pop. I think further contact with the wall has made this job even harder for Marnik. Here comes Ruben. This would be a fabulous scalp for Ruben as he gets the slipstream in his much more aerodynamic BMW at this stage. He actually makes the pass. Ruben is a wounded animal here. Sorry, Marnik is a wounded animal. Ruben makes the overtake. Can he sweep by Polar? Well, they almost join the apex at exactly the same time. That is where Marnik understeered into the wall last lap round and possibly caused himself even more damage. Polar defending on the inside, or at least trying to hold the inside line. Marnik couldn't get by. We have 5 minutes remaining here of the race, and that's Ruben fabulously into 3rd place, and he's definitely got a shot here at that flashing light silver Rare Metals Racing. Tin further up the road. Tin in P2. They've got Harry in between them. Marnik usually will have the edge on the top speed in the Lexus, but it's clearly not performing at its absolute best, and neither will Tin's BMW be right now. It looks to me like Ruben has kept a clean set of wheels down the cars in front as driving over our camera position goes Harry in P19. This is absolutely grandstand finish for our race, and I'm really happy to see this. That's Jeremiah there. Runks, as you may know him, in P26 there. He'll be behind several of the GT4s. He needs to get out of the way, really. And I would imagine that Tin is getting very irate as he takes to the outside, going in towards the dipper and over Skyline. That is Tin feeling very, very uncomfortable. This is going to lose him time to Ruben. Watch the gap to Ruben drop here, and he'll be absolutely fuming, Tin, as he comes through Forest Elbow. He still hasn't made the move. It is not... As far as I'm aware, we haven't changed any rules. It is still not mandatory to get out of the way, but I do feel like in the final 10 minutes of the race that you really oughtn't to be defending your position. Behind this pair is Harry and Ruben has caught to now be under 4 seconds away. Whoa! Ruben smashes into the back of Tin. I don't quite believe what I've just seen, but Tin will take even more damage as they head through the chase. I'm sure that was absolutely unintentional, but back we have our 2 championship leaders, Tin and Marnik, back together thanks to that intervention unintentionally by Jeremiah, unfortunately, I have to say. But that is racing at this endurance level with mixed class and mixed abilities, mixed speeds, running through the corners, and that puts Ruben up into a famous 2nd place. Harry is right in the middle of this, as he has been in many of the battles so far this race. But that, you can see, is Ruben just passing Jeremiah. Jeremiah will be very red-faced after that situation. But the 2 damaged championship leaders here will be trying to finish this race out confidently. This is the white flag lap as far as I can tell at this stage of proceedings. Lucas still leads now by some 12 seconds. Incredible performance from Lucas, and it's great to see new drivers on the top of the order. But what a huge moment, and what could be very important for our championship as Harry comes through. We've got Tin just ahead of Marnik still. We're just trying to find those 2 drivers. Here they are. Marnik is definitely more damaged, I think, than Tin, despite the fact that Tin was just had his diffuser rearranged as we run through. So I don't want to dwell on that too much, because knowing Runks, he will be feeling absolutely upset at that situation, and that is very, very unfortunate for everybody concerned. Rick is in 5th place. I don't think he's going to be troubling the top group at all. I'm just going down to try and find our GT4 field. Several of them are here, but I can't see Artie anywhere. Let's forgive me for skipping through everybody. Here he is. Here's Artie, as he is crossing the line. Well, coming through with 1 minute 16 to go. He is crossing over the line to take his final lap here at the head of the field. He's P18 overall. That could be one of the highest all-time relative positions for a GT4 winner to proceed through this great race. And he has a massive gap. I can't even see where his rivals are at the moment on track. Behind him directly is the second driver in the GT3 field of Ruben in the lighter grey and gold, silver and gold Rare Metals Racing. Sorry, not Rare Metals Racing, Kingsman Motorsport. P2 BMW, the number 3 car, is currently in P3, and he's got a 12-second gap up ahead, I think, to Lucas. Let's just check that out. Yeah, a 12+ second gap. But right now, this is looking very, very good for an all-new podium, which is fabulous to see in our field. We've got Tin still looking at trying to secure that P3 overall. Marnik is right behind him. This is going to be fought over at the very end of this race. Look at these two. Couldn't separate them in Watkins Glen at the start. Can't separate them at Bathurst at the end either. I think Marnik might have just been flashing the lights. It might have just been some braking action from Tin there, as they weave their way through this ferociously difficult summit of the mountain. Tin is ahead, but for how much longer? Ruben in P2, and we've got Lucas coming down the Comrod Straight. He's coming into the chase, is Lucas. He took a 7-second lead out to a 12-second lead now over P2. Look at this performance from Lucas for Kingsman Motorsport. He rounds the final corner. That's all the work done for Lucas as he approaches the line to win at Bathurst. What a fabulous performance from Lucas. And he will finish just ahead then of Ruben, who comes into that final section once again. Ruben in P3 will take 2nd position for what I think is the first time in his Black Flag racing career there in GT3. But let's have a look at Marnik and at Tin. Marnik has got by Tin on the final lap on the way into the final corner. Marnik goes by. Tin stops almost on the line there. Did he run out of fuel right at the death? I just want to find out, where is Marnik? He went into the pit lane, in fact, and I don't think he took the checkered flag. Tin is not showing on my screen as having taken the checkered flag, but hopefully he has, in fact, done that. Tin in 4th position. I will see if Rick goes by, but we will try and see everybody finishing their races out as we run through. I'll just check in on the GT4 field. Looks like Artie has completed the win there. Artie in P1 in class has got himself ahead of what it looks to be Thor for P2, ahead of Archie and Adam in the GT4 field. Let's try and find those drivers as they finish out the race. But I'm just looking back at Tin. Looks like he did take the checkered flag, but it's very hard for me to tell until we get to the very end of the race. Everybody parking up there is Max in P27. Marnik has gone into the pit lane as the drivers cross the line and then go into the pits as all the flares and drama is done with here on our field. So I can tell you that in GT4, Artie wins the race ahead of what it appears to be Thor, Archie, Adam and Ivan. Arik finishing in between them at this stage of the race. It does look like Marnik finishing ahead of Tin. Rick I believe, finishing in 5th place, but I will wait for confirmation on the final standings. But a quite confusing finish in the end, but a fabulous, fabulous win for Lucas ahead of Ruben, and Marnik scraping 3rd right at the very end. Artie winning in GT4 as well. We'll just wait for our standings to happen, so we can see everybody. So there you have it, confirmation. And it looks like, yeah, Tin did take home that that all-important run. So let's just have a look at the overall finish then for the race. And yes, this is your provisional standings then. Lucas, Ruben, Marnik, Tin in 4th place with the fastest lap ahead of Rick. And then Cody, Crit, Brandon and Aries, with Sam coming home in 10th place. Bert in 11th with 12th place Nate. I think you'd be okay, relatively happy to survive. He was much further back at one point there, Nate in 12th. North Sea Bub from the back of the field, having not qualified, into 13th place. That could be driver of the day potential for North Sea Bub. I don't think I get to decide that, but I'm just I'm just suggesting. Brian had an issue early on and he came home really well in 14th. Keith, Angel, Artie, Harry, Jason and Thor. Then Artie leading the GT4s, Thor 2nd and Archie in 3rd and 21st overall, followed by Adam with Arik in 23rd, Ivan in 24th, Jeremiah Runks in 25th. May have had to pit a second time, I'm not sure, after the contact there earlier on. Chappie in 26th. We have Rice, Jeff, Max, Matrix, Kevin, Lime with Polar, who was 2nd in the GT4, but obviously had to retire or was forcibly retired 5 laps from completion of the overall set. So in the final few laps, it was Polo who ended up coming home 33rd, and Hunter behind him, Tane in 35th, and Leroy home dead last. But those drivers did not complete the entire race distance. Wow, very, very enjoyable race overall. I'll just get rid of this this black box on the screen so you can actually take in and screenshot when you need it. Oh, it's just gone. Just gone when I didn't want it to. And I've lost my my standings overall. But I promise you, as I read them out, those are your provisional standings at the end of what has been a very, very intriguing Black Flag Racing Round 3 of the Premier Division. Thank you so much for your patience. I do apologise for the start and the difficulties with the internet, but I will get this all out to you as soon as humanly possible. But thank you so much for your patronage. For any tips you might be feeling generous to give at the end of today's stream, please, if you can, engage with the video in some way, be it a comment, a save, a like or a hype. Those will all really help me with my engagement metrics, and I really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much to everyone who has been able to tune in. I hope that the small delay and the difficulties don't spoil your enjoyment overall, and hopefully all will be well, and we will see you again next week. So thank you for watching, and we will catch you on the next race day.